I am delighted yet again to be speaking with my very good friend, Nancy Rebecca. I think Nancy and I have had maybe four conversations
I
in
think this might be the fourth. Yep.
it must be the fourth or so in the last sort of 18 months. And many of you will remember Nancy. She's an absolute joy to behold with wonderful energy, very loving, very kind, a retired registered nurse. I think you worked in a hospice and in intensive care with heart
Yep.
patients, Nancy, and that
Mhm.
big heart of yours shines through. So Nancy is a healer, she's a psychic, she's a teacher, she's a real expert in reading the human energy field and helps people now in teaching them meditation, beautiful meditations. Highly recommend those. There's some free ones on her website, Intuitive Mind, and I'll put the link for that below. And she also helps them develop their intuitive and psychic skills.
Mhm.
So welcome, Nancy. And you've got a
Thank you.
very busy YouTube channel as well. And the conversations we've had in the past, I mean, you might remember Nancy when she very first talked about the activation of the pyramids and gave us very specific dates. I think there were three very specific dates, which aligned really well with the astrology. And that was
Mhm.
super exciting. And then more and more about the blue light beings and how we're being activated. And I think she's got some really exciting news to share with us this evening about where we are headed, because we are on a very, very accelerated and exciting
Yeah.
timeline right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Nancy, I can barely wait, and I know everybody is going to love this and benefit and feel uplifted by it. So you have a plan that you've received that you're going to share with us this evening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So I just want to say hello to you, of course, and your community. I've really loved the Veda Austin and Richard Rudd talks that have come up. And I was thinking about them, and it's just like they're just so brilliant. You have this knack, I'm thinking about this. You have this knack of kind of reaching out into the ethers and bringing people forward who may kind of be obscure in the background, like the mad scientist, and you've got this way of kind of pulling them in the forefront, and then and just exposing their brilliance to the
Just like you,
world.
Nancy, just like you.
And I'm like, I just don't feel like I belong in that category. But thank you so much. And your community is amazing, and it's just exploding. It's just as people, I don't even know if awakens the right word, but yeah, as it explodes. And it was actually you were saying 18 months, but it was actually 1 year ago, last November.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. It was the pyramids. Yes, that's right. Gosh, wow, so much has happened.
Yeah, so it was in 2017 that the blue beings of light came through. And then the first surge was in 2019, the second surge in 2021. But the big, big, big surge, it was like those two blue light surges of truth and dissolving illusion and enhancing justice. That work really began in 2019, but wow, last year in 2023, we had the three big surges that went through the Hopi Mesas, Mesa 1, Mesa 2, and Mesa 3, that I am told used to be pyramids that have been weathered with time. So, and yeah, I'm a registered nurse, and I've studied over 30,000 human energy fields and really see patterns in those fields. But when the blue light came through, I felt in some ways a little hijacked, but things are so rapidly moving. And so they did come through a couple of weeks ago, and they talked about the message and the plan. The message and the plan. And the group that I work with, and even my own students, haven't even heard all of this yet. So
Wow, thank
it's
you. We're
inaugural.
very privileged. I'm really excited to hear it. Thank you for sharing it with us. We've got the sort of premiere of
Yeah,
their message. So thank you,
of
Nat.
the message and the plan. But I did want to share with everyone, there were a couple of things that happened that what I know to be a truth is that there are prime examples of what's happening in the world, where your mind, you're trying to figure out, you're trying to out clever and outsmart what you think needs to happen. And yet the spirit world has a different plan. And this, for those of us who are not accustomed to our spirit with their hands on the wheel of our car and our mind in the back seat, we're going to be challenged. And um, so what just happened to me recently was they had marked off. I live just out in the city in a house that's 130 years old. And I know that's not that old for you all in England, but it's quite old for us here in America. But right on the corner, they put up all these signs. And so we went out and talked to them, and they said they're going to be digging up the asphalt. So I knew I was going to be talking to you today, and I knew there'd be jackhammers and things. So I made this great plan to out clever and outsmart how things were going to unfold. Well, my parents have a cabin Airbnb on the water. So my mother says, well, why don't you go down there and use their internet? So I get down there, I get all set up to stay for a couple of days. We've got the internet. And next thing you know, we hear that there's a cyclone bomb, the equivalent of a hurricane, level 1 hurricane, heading our direction. So I had to pack up everything and come back up to my house where they're doing all this construction. And then it's getting louder and louder, and you're about ready to come on the call, with me now. And there are probably, between dump trucks and all this other asphalt grading, there was probably about 6 big earth movers right outside my window, 10 feet. And I said to Yvonne, we couldn't have any more earth moving trucks making so much noise out there. And I'm about ready to go on with Pam. And Yvonne says to me, well, actually, you could have more. But if you keep thinking that you're going to have more, and you keep getting irritated about having more, and you keep getting frustrated about having more, then there are more. You're going to attract more. And so I was like, oh, yes, thanks for the reminder. And so she said, so why don't you just set your intention that they're going to leave?
So you
They
did.
left in 5 minutes. I don't know where they went. They're gone. And so I wanted to give this example because this is what's happening as the frequency is rising. Our ability to manifest so rapidly is just right on the table in front of us. And so what has happened is I needed somebody else to remind me to get my head straight. And so this is what's happening, even though I've done this for a long time, and those of you out there may be brand new or also doing it a long time, we are being challenged to keep our head straight about us.
Yeah.
So
And living intentionally, yes, constantly. Yes,
constantly.
And it becomes a habit. It becomes a habit. And
Yes.
I use the infinity wave, the Ho'oponopono poem,
Yeah.
a lot, a lot. And it gets me out of.
And trusting and having faith that you can do that.
Yeah. And it's miraculous. I mean, using those 2 techniques is truly miraculous. So, and then
Yes.
I do happy dances because you just think, I cannot believe the universe has just sorted it out in a way I could never have imagined. So
Exactly.
I'm very grateful.
Exactly.
I'm very grateful.
Yeah, I love it. So I'm going to take advantage of it being quiet out there right now. But so let me just share a little bit about the message and the plan. And this is not all that is flooding through. And I know that all of your community and those beyond are also getting information that's coming through. And it's so important right now that everyone get out of their own way and start sharing what they're picking up. So the blue light beings, I did sit down, have a conversation. I did have to stop eventually because when it's delivered in such a high frequency, it can be a bit much for our human selves. We need to take a break. So on November 5th, we had a major quantum leap, time space leap. And in that quantum leap that happened, when I talk about the quanta or the quantum field, it's where it's almost like, let's just say we're all standing on the ground and now our baseline has just moved up here.
I
So
felt that. I felt that
we're,
lots of people did.
yeah, that we're no longer functioning at this baseline here. We're functioning from up here. And you're going to hear me say a lot that everyone in that quantum field rises up. Even if you don't believe in any of this stuff, you're still kind of shot up into the atmosphere of these different ways of thinking. For those who are prepared, you are in this place of bliss and joy. And it's like, it's here, it's like Christmas Day, you get excited. But even if you have a lot of ability, there's this sense of this, like you feel like you're living in a holographic world. And so again, it's like we have to practice, like communicating telepathically. I always talk about when we move to the other side in the spirit world, we don't know how to glide from one place to another. We're still used to making the steps, or we don't know how to communicate. We're trying to move our mouth, but we hear nothing. And we need to learn how to communicate telepathically. So that's what's happening to us now. We're learning how to glide through our life while still having a human body. And we're learning how to communicate telepathically, which will be the communication style in the near future. We're already doing it. We just aren't so aware that we're doing it. And we're learning how to engage spiritually with each other, not with the human nature that can run amok, when we're having bad days, that we can override that. So we had a major quantum leap. And in this quantum leap, there are many dimensions within that leap. And so what I wrote was, we're flickering between timelines. And so there is no time or space. So the example that I like to give is, you've looked at the clock and it's 11:05. And it's like, okay, I've got to be at work at 1:00. So let me just throw a load of laundry on. Let me get the dishes done. Let me strip the sheets, off the bed. And then you look at the clock again after you've done all that, and it's 11:05. So you all are already experiencing that. I know that you are. I've just heard from so many people that time becomes irrelevant. And yet, as humans, we're so addicted to time. So we have a lot of addictions we have to get rid of. And some of those addictions are that you need to sit on a mountaintop and meditate forever before you can become enlightened. I just had a student ask me, so will these next few months and years help me to become more enlightened? And it's like, well, you're already awake and you're already enlightened. We already have our higher soul self. It's our bodies that we're creating into light bodies. And we're helping our light bodies, our cells prepare. We're encouraging, we're talking sweet to our bodies. We're doing really good things for our bodies, like drinking enough water and eating food. So
Is it a question more of losing density, Nancy, to uncover
yes,
what's already there?
we're shedding the density. We're shedding social programming. We're shedding our doubts, our insecurities. We're shedding caring what anybody else thinks about us. Like, it's just not going to influence us anymore. And, I'm hearing from a lot of people, because we know about the Hopi timeline that was done in the petroglyphs, where they show there's a timeline that will go up, and there will be people going up, and then there will people that will be remaining on this timeline. And so there's always been a lot of talk about this split, that we will go into a higher frequency dimension while others are still living their life in the 3D world. And when I went to India, Pam, I did see this where I was in India, and yet just 10 feet above the ground was this golden people of golden light, holy light beings and temples. And it was just this other world up here. And yet I looked back down and you have people who are starving and um, begging for food and things like that. And then I would look back up. And when I asked Spirit about it, it was like it's those individuals who are begging for food on the ground, it is their soul up there living this incredible life. So they're all one and the same, is what I'm being shown. So everyone right now in our 3D world, and here, especially in America, we're just, gosh, we're just trying to figure things out, and but they always want to reassure that there's that part of our soul that is working at the higher levels for the betterment of everyone. And that's what we're realizing who we are. So we're not awakening, we're not becoming enlightened, we're just realizing who we all already are from the perspective that I see things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so in line with the astrology. Pluto moving into Aquarius is all about finding your, I was just saying this in a video last night, you're finding your unique essence, finding your authenticity and living it much more fully. And what you're saying, Nancy, about dissolving density, that's very much Saturn in Pisces, because Saturn is
Mm.
density and Pisces dissolves. And Saturn
Okay.
is going to be moving out of Pisces fully in February 2026. So I think a lot of this, and Saturn's also linear time, 3D linear
Yes.
time. So a lot of the things you're talking about may well be complete by the time we start moving into the early months of 2026. That's how I'm seeing, and of course, time does not exist. So what am I talking about? So
Exactly.
no, I mean, you
Exactly.
get into this rabbit hole. So, but that's what I'm seeing astrologically. Heaven knows what this is going to do to my astrology, of course. This linear time dissolving, but that's another story. So that's how I'm seeing it in terms of, about 18 months from now, not
Yes.
barely that, actually.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. And that's exactly, we must create the light bodies. Our body must come with us
Yeah.
in this shift, because if you think about Earth is a body, and the celestial realm is this light. Earth is must shed its density, and it doesn't look pretty when Earth is shedding its density with earthquakes and tsunamis and hurricanes and forest fires and all, it's shedding. Well, we're the same. We don't look pretty when we're shedding these things. And the thing about humans is that they will tend to self blame. Oh, I skipped my meditation this morning, and so I'm eating it now. It's like we there's not going to be any room for a lot of shame moving forward, and a lot of criticism and a lot of doubt. And that's that type of density that it's melting off of the cells of our body. Our cells are becoming more pliable. Yvonne uses the word neuroplasticity
Yeah.
a lot, and I'm laughing because she says, if I can't get my mind the neuroplasticity of my mind to be a little more flexible, I'm going to really have a hard time. And I laugh because that's really where it is, right? And how do you enhance the neuroplasticity of your mind is inviting yourself to think that anything's possible.
Yeah, beautiful. Much more multidimensional.
Much more and the believing, like there's so much being prepared for the galactic dimension to come further into our Earth. And does that include extraterrestrial visitation? Well, there was Nolan, I can't remember his first name, Professor Nolan, I'll call him Professor Nolan. He just released in the last couple of years a study where he did on the DNA, human DNA, and how old it is. And he's talking about the half-life. And so he reversed engineered, which is a big one, part of this plan and the message. He reverse engineered the DNA to get a sense about how truly old human DNA is. Have you heard this?
No, but it's fascinating.
9.5 billion years old. But here's the problem. Earth is only 4.5 billion years old.
Well, that makes all kinds of sense. It came from the stars, didn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we're star beings ourselves. Absolutely. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So it's like, okay, what has been the blue light, what has been hidden will be revealed. So many things are going to be revealed. Your mind is just going to be blown. So let me see if I can just highlight, because I will be talking about the message and the plan a lot over the next few months. So there was a major timeline leap, a higher quantum frequency that is currently available to us at this time. How does that benefit your life? You're able to see the bigger picture in a way that you weren't able to see it and sense it and feel it before. It will become more challenging for you as of now to think in limited ways. It's just not going to be possible. And the frequency is so high, you might want to fight the urge to cover your ears because the sound can be ear piercing, ringing, causing you high levels of dizziness. So that's really going on right now because of this leap. And Spirit was showing me the blue light beings. They like to show me in images and pictures because that's how I have grown to know that's how Spirit communicates, through light codes, images, and pictures. And so they show Spirit you being provided a meal of a hamburger, milkshake, and fries. And now you enter a doorway where there's an abundance of food choices, and no one's telling you any longer which food to choose. So if we've been fed this regular diet of a hamburger, fries, and milkshake, that's kind of easy, isn't it? It's just like, your
Very
next meal comes,
manipulative.
someone said, this is what you're going to eat. Now we're passing through this doorway into the golden ages, and there's just tables. The room is just full of abundance of food. And you're like, where do I even begin? This is where we are. This is where we are now. This is happening now. And there may be some who find it easier to just be told what to do, but it's just not going to work anymore.
And you
So
were saying, Nancy, once you go through that doorway into this whole, abundance and array of food, there is no going back, I think you
there's
said.
no going back. You cannot go back. Once you've had full choices, you cannot go back. And this is what happens for a lot of people who've been doing that, walking that spiritual path for humanity. That's what I'm going to call it, walking the spiritual path for humanity for so long. It can be difficult for you to be in groups of people who just want to eat the hamburger, French fries, and milkshake, and that don't want a choice. And it's like, but you're going to love it, and that's the beauty about the people who've been doing this work. You don't have to do it. The astrology does it. The frequencies that are coming through do it. And definitely our frequency, what we desire to see happen, it pulls like out of the tapestry of frequencies to send your thoughts down those lines to bring the color back to that tapestry. And one of the things, Pam, it's that concept, like I talk to a lot of people, a lot of my students and stuff, trying to understand that the planets can really influence us. And so I
Oh,
was wondering if you could just do a little review of that again.
yeah, it's interesting because, if you look at it from a a kind of purely physical point of view. Beyond the moon, which has a gravitational pull, there is no actual mechanical push or pull, no physical mechanical effect of the planets beyond the moon, which of course is, all of them. And so it is much more, I think, something quantum. It's operating on a quantum level. And I believe that the planets out there, including the dwarf planets, are not just kind of hunks of spinning rock. They are kind of probability waves of consciousness that have a particular resonance or frequency. And so therefore, this is going back to Pythagoras's harmony of the spheres that he talked about, wonderful, that your birth chart is actually a song, a sheet of music, something really, a symphony, and it's your unique symphony. And so the planets are interacting with us in very specific geometry based on our birth chart, with their particular resonances that interact with our particular resonance. And that's what creates our reality as individuals and collectively. So it's all based on frequency and energy. And I think what we're going to discuss, and consciousness, what we're going to discover going forwards with Pluto in Aquarius, because it's going to be all about understanding frequency and energy, is we're going to get a much deeper and wider understanding of how the cosmos directly affects us. But is a whole other theory, which is that the entire cosmos is within you. It's within your heart. Lee Harris talks about this. My good friend Janet Trelaw, who channels Zach, aspect of Dwal Kul, they both say your birth chart is inside your heart. The entire cosmos is within you. And so when I used to do client work, I don't anymore because I don't have time, but when I did client work, at the same moment I was reading their birth chart, which was internal to them and their soul and their psyche, it was also a mirror of the heavens at the moment of their birth. So it was inner and outer at the same moment. So I think we're going to get and this is quite Buddhist as well, I think, but we're going to get a much greater understanding with this meld of science and spirituality about how those different resonances and frequencies in a quantum sense affect us as individuals. So I hope that's made some sense, because I think we're just on the edge of starting to understand all of that.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And because part of this message that is coming through from ascended masters and the star people is that, as we're moving into this greater level of expanded consciousness. So in that expanded consciousness, it's not just humans. It's not like we're unifying together as humans and communities, but that we're unifying with our animals, we're with the plants, with the trees, with the stars, with the earth. Like every aspect is our community.
It's Lemurian. Lemurian, isn't it? Very Lemurian.
Yes. Yeah.
They believed everything was one.
Yes. And so when I was thinking about when I started working with individuals, and I was working with individuals for a long time, but I was really starting to struggle a little bit about kind of raising or working with my frequency. And I've only had one astrology reading, and I happened to be on the big island of Hawaii, and there was a little, cork board outside the little grocery store, and it was an astrologer. And I'm like, oh, I'm here. I think I'll have an astrology reading. And I remember he said to me, so how do you do your work? And I said, well, I see individual clients. And he goes, and do you feel very good doing that? And I'm like, well, yeah, kind of. And he goes, well, I just want you to see these planets that you were born under. You're supposed to be working with large groups of people. And so if you're working with just one person at a time, you're not really in alignment with the potential of your frequency. And so I took that information, and it did help me to kind of start to expand and teach larger classes. And then I started feeling so much better. But the reason why I mention this is because we can follow a pattern that we've seen done before, like other healers work individually, but that may not be in alignment with your truth, your consciousness, your frequency. And so this is where our intuition, our psychic abilities, we must start self-referring with what we know is right for us and what's not right for us. So Psychic and intuitive abilities are part of the plan because everyone must reveal access to their inner sense of wisdom and knowing so they can begin to know what they need to do on the next step, not what the whole world is doing or what their family's doing, but what they need to do. So that's really part of the plan too. They're awakening rapidly to their intuitive abilities. Okay. Let's see. um, they did say, we totally understand, Nancy. How can you be in a state of bliss when your shoes are on fire? And I just thought that was perfect because what they're saying is you can't just try to stay all loving and all blissful when there's sorrow in the world and there's war and there's differences of opinions about how solutions should be found. That's what they're talking about, the shoes on fire. So you literally have got to spend time putting the fire out in your shoes and also reaching for that kind of that higher bar or living in those flickering dimensions of quantum soup at the same time that you're trying to figure out how to put out the fire. But this is the thing. It's just like what I experienced. You know, there's dump trucks and oh God, there's so much noise. And it was like, all right, let's move the trucks. And they moved. So what they're trying to tell us is putting the fire out on your shoes is not as hard as you think it's going to be. So being the change that we see in the world, but moving the frequency of the quantum. This is what they've told me is the only thing that's going to work with what's going on the planet.
Everything comes from frequency. It's always
everything comes from frequency. And so it's like, yeah, you think you can send more tanks over or more bombs or more this or more that. And I don't know anything about war, so I don't really want to speak as an expert, but where they give examples of, let's say that you go to a church and there's some conflicts in the church, they're saying, work with the frequency, rather than just the leaders or the boss and everybody else follows, just start shifting your mindset and what's possible. And it's shifting fast, Pam. Are you noticing that?
Phenomenal. And this is really Pluto in Aquarius, where we become masters of our frequency and our energy. We become masters because exactly what you're talking about, Nancy, we spot the connection between if I can shift my frequency and my focus, my reality changes really fast. In minutes.
Really fast.
I mean, the trucks went in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So I really noticed this myself. And it's quite fun. You can do it as a game.
Oh my gosh, you just took the words out of my mouth. It is so fun.
Yeah. A little irritations in the day. You think, okay, I think I know how to clear that. And so shift the frequency in your focus, set a clear intention. Boof. It's terrific, actually. It's like magic. So it's wonderful.
It is like magic.
Beautiful. We're all going to be able to do this. We're going to become masters of this, all of us.
Very quickly. And this is the issue, is it's just like you do it and it's just like I've just moved all the trucks, but I'll tell you, tomorrow I'll find myself going, rather than being inspired by that, sometimes that doubt can rise up in your disbelief or you don't have faith. So that's where post-it notes come in handy, because your consciousness can, wants to kind of go back to sleep. Your mind wants to go back to sleep, put the blankets over the head, but your spirit's like, no, there's so much fun out here right now. Come out and play, come out and play. So, I just can't. I don't know if I will be able to forget that one, but it is a lot of fun. And this is the other thing. You can't play with lies.
Yeah, you said in August that truths would be revealed, that there were going to be no more lies, and boy, was that true. And I could see it in the astrology, and it's just fire hosing out now. Every
Yes.
day there's more. So yeah, blue
Yeah.
beings spot on, and the astrology was spot on.
Yeah. And they showed me, we'll talk about leaders all over the world, because I have students all over the world. You have people all over the world, and that they all have different levels of what we have here in the United States. And what I was shown by the holy ones, what I was shown was they can say their lies, but it's just like trying to spit. It just drops right below you, or the wind is blowing and the spit blows back. It just doesn't go anywhere. But when it's truth, it goes beyond Earth and out to the galaxies.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that's why they're telling me, don't get too concerned about, but they're lying or they're bending the truth or they're manipulating. They're like, don't spend your air on that. Just keep tapping into what's true and then building that truth. Yeah.
it's like there's an unstoppable evolutionary wave of truth and love and light that is going to just wash all that away, wash
Yeah.
away the corruption and the lies. I deeply believe that. And it's coming down the track very quickly now. I think next few months,
Yes.
couple of years. I don't know
Yeah.
how you feel about that timeline, Nancy, but
Yeah, I'm looking at March. March is the end of March, beginning of April is the next big time that I just, yeah, I'm looking at that excited for it. And I have no idea why.
it's really interesting because Neptune on the 30th of March leaves Pisces, the very last degree of the zodiac, and enters zero of Aquarius, zero of Aries, the very first degree of the creator degree, whole new beginning. And that's a 165-year cycle. So for the first time,
Okay, so when does that happen?
so it's 30th of March. I'm pretty certain. Let me just check my ephemeris. It's 30th of March, I'm pretty sure. It enters for the first time. Yeah, yeah, 30th of March. And it sort of backtracks in late October back to Pisces, and then January for Neptune, January 2026, fully in Aries then for another 165-year cycle. This to me is a whole new beginning for humanity, a whole new episode. So I'd be really interested to hear what you're feeling around what is likely to happen March, April.
Well, it's interesting because I just released a talk on Saturday. It was called Oceans of Blue or something like that. But they really wanted me to talk about Neptune and Neptune, the planet, and Neptune, the god, I think was a Greek god. And about the waters, being churned on the surface, but underneath, the depth that's coming to the surface. So let me see if I've got this right again. So Neptune is Neptune in going into Aquarius?
Aries.
Aries.
Pluto has just moved into Aquarius yesterday for the first time in 248 years, or since 1798 to be precise. Neptune will begin to enter Aries on the 30th of March.
And Aries is pretty fiery.
It's very clear, it's very truthful, it's very direct, it's very honest, and it's the warrior. It's the spiritual warrior. Neptune in Aries, spiritual warrior. And I really think because Saturn is going to be moving in with it, hand in hand, in February 20th, 2026. And it's like making real the dream. But we get a very close aspect between them. They're at the same degree, not the same minute, but the same degree, sort of mid next year. And that's the rehearsal, that's the first glimpse of making real the dream for this whole new episode for humanity. Because Saturn and Neptune come together very reliably every 36 years, but not at zero of Aries, the very first degree of the zodiac.
Wow.
I haven't been able to find another time in history when that happened.
Wow. Well, so what they show me in pictures. So in the pictures, they're like this time where we are like today and up through March, we'll say March 30th. I'm going to go with that because they're not always specific with dates because a date is a date, but we know like Pluto's been getting the whispers of Aquarius and Pluto before today. So, but they show me it's like this time we're in right now is like the rocket that's been launched and the fire is just, the rock is just cutting through everything. And then it's like after that April, then it's like hitting this where you get in this space where you're just floating now around the moon, or you're just floating around the planet. Like you're still transforming, but right now is such a big push through the birth canal, we'll call it, where it's just, and then after that, it's like this big breath of life and new life
Yeah, well, that's
is,
it. Zero of Aries, new life, the very first degree of the zodiac.
oh, I love
Oh,
it.
that's amazing. That's amazing. And what's interesting is just coming back to me when I had the conversation with Richard Rudd in his system on the 30th, no, it's the 30th of January, he is seeing the beginning of a 3-year genetic mutation, upgrade genetic mutation for all beings on Earth and for the
Wow.
Earth itself, presumably. Wow.
Yeah.
So these are going to be big months then, Nancy.
Big, very big. I'm marking off my calendar um, specifically for that time, because it's almost, I mean, I'm very excited about what's happening now, but no, I'm very excited about then.
So that's a bit,
And I'm
another big jump up, another big quantum leap.
big, big, even bigger than it is now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's exciting. So I'll just kind of go through my note. We are in an intense time of manipulation of our expressions, of how we express our energy, where we wish to place our energy, our thoughts, our opinions, and what is right and what is wrong for us and humanity. And what they were saying to me is, we have no idea how manipulated we are being by whatever the powers that be, or the old frequencies maybe. But when they said that, I started really looking at, where am I being manipulated? Where are my thoughts being manipulated? Where am I as a teacher? Where might I be manipulating my students? Like, I really take responsibility for all that. And they're saying that has to be rooted out, and manipulations being rooted out these next, up through that March 30th time.
oh, that's really soon. I mean, that's really fast, isn't it?
Yeah. And the intuition is really growing. Our inner strength is really going, so that by the time we get there, it's like, oh no, this is right for me and that's not right for me. And you're going to be so clear about it. You're going to wonder why you were so befuddled before. Yeah, it's exciting. Exciting. So then I asked them a question, is there evil in the world? And they said, yeah, absolutely. However, the light that is in the world right now, the brightness of light you can't even conceive of yet, is even brighter than that. And so they really want us to just keep remembering, revealing back to our truth.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Our celestial galactic forces are gathering in large numbers, standing in a way to steady us on the earth, while under our feet it rumbles, shakes, and splits. And again, they just want to reassure there's no one coming to save us. And it's not like we're saving ourselves, we're just revealing ourselves.
Yeah, because this is the time. This is the acorn into the oak tree. This is the inner time capsule that's being activated.
Yeah.
Just have to surrender to that evolutionary process, really.
Yes.
Go with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And your belief and your doubt and insecurity, I know it feels so powerful, but it just can't hold a candle to your light.
Wow.
And I'm already so excited that the people that I'm working with and the light codes, and I'll talk about that, but I'm so excited about I mean, I'm not totally excited about some of the things that are being revealed, because, I'm very Pollyannish by, the glass half full kind of person. But it's like, you're kidding me. Has that really been happening? I've been oblivious, but then I am really grateful to know it, because when you know it, you can shift it, right? When you know it, you can move the trucks out of the street.
Yeah. Yep, 100%. Well, you know, the darkness is being revealed because the light is so bright.
Yeah.
It has to, in order to clear the room properly, we have to shine very bright light in dark corners with the cockroaches and the beetles, and that's all got to be cleared out, doesn't it? Very
Yes,
simple analogy.
exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are seeing 2025, Nancy, from the blue light beings perspective as a really fast, dynamic, and eventful year, because that's what I'm seeing astrologically.
Yes. And the way that it's coming through where it's it's been really for some it's been really uncomfortable. And for those who've been doing this work for a long time, there's a sense of rejoicing uh, for those, and I get that. And for others, it's been a really hard time. But my sense is, it's almost like you've put up all the directions at the dance hall, and you've got the band ordered, and you've got the table set, and all the decorations and the flowers and everything. And it's time to dress up in your fun dancing clothes. And now it's time for the dance to start, the ball to start. That's what it feels like to me after that kind of March 30th time, like that we may find some times of fun.
Fabulous. Yeah, we
Yeah.
need a lot of that.
Is that what you're sensing?
Yes, absolutely. The first few months of next year are a little more challenging, and then it gets easier as we go through the year. Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting that you're seeing that, Nancy, because it's so specific. You know, March 30th is the very day that Neptune moves into Aries for the first time in its cycle in 165 years. So
Yeah.
and of course it's reinforced by much larger cycles of time as well. So yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, I ask a lot of questions. I just don't take whatever they're dishing out and chew it up and swallow it. I sit with it for a long time. And I think it's helpful for everyone to sit with it for a long time. Just sit with your truth, because when you can start to embody your truth, it does help you to become more resilient. It help everyone becomes more resilient. And
Absolutely.
sit out in nature, or just or knitting sweater, anything creative. I mean, we are truly in a creative renaissance. We really need this creativity. We're bathing in it.
Yeah.
It's thick and it's rich and it's exciting. So,
Nancy,
Pam,
just a question. You talked about the Earth split. How are you seeing that? Are you seeing that as something physical or something dimensional?
that's this is the thing about uh, like when I'm doing a reading for someone, it can be quite metaphoric and it can be quite literal. So there's an example of a reading I was doing, and in this spirit was showing me this female eagle. It was half woman, half eagle, with the wings, spread out, kind of like a phoenix coming out of the ashes, but this incredible eagle woman. And so I'm talking about the metaphoric or anything, whatever. And then the client stands up and had on overalls and just took the overalls and dropped them and said, "You mean this?" And up through her back was this eagle woman with the wings that spread across the shoulder blades. So it was metaphoric, but it was literal at the same time. So it's not always both. And so this is what makes it a bit challenging. Now, what they show me about this split, do you ever remember in kindergarten or elementary school where you put the bean in water and then you've got the little green leaf, and then the bean provides the nourishment of the new plant that's coming up? But eventually the shell of that little plant must fall away for the plant to continue its journey into growth. That's what they're talking about, earth splitting, that there's a new level of growth that's emerging. Now, is it going to be a literal split? I don't think so. No, but could it shake, rumble, and roll? Why not?
Yeah, I see a lot of earth changes for sure.
Yeah.
Extreme weather and earth changes. It's like Earth
Yeah.
is going through, you know, Gaia is going through her labor pains, if you like.
Yes.
But from what I understand as well, they are going to be much less than they would have been if we hadn't raised our consciousness as
Yeah.
far as we have up to now, because
Yeah.
we're interfacing with Gaia all the time, of course.
But working together in partnership
Yeah, yeah,
as a community,
yeah,
that it there's no burden just on one person. There isn't just a burden on earth. There's just not, it is, as we start to work together, our workload is lighter at
yeah.
that
That's
conscious
very
level.
Aquarian, coming together in community and collaboration. You know, we're all pulling our weight. There's no longer just the leader at the top and us living separate existences in separate houses. There's going to be a much greater sense of community and collaboration, because that's Aquarian energy. That's, you know, tree roots connecting in the forest. Mycelium, absolutely.
Yeah. 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 Yes. Yes. And I have a meditation that went out. I had a talk. I do a free talk on my YouTube channel every Thursday. And it was this last time was about working with groups, and we have a lot of old programming and old pain around groups. So I do this meditation. So I invite everybody to go there and do that meditation with groups, because it's just the groups at one end of the football field and you're at the other end of the football field. And as you move in, how do you feel about joining groups? Are you drawn like a magnet? Are you repelled? What's coming up for you? Because we must start healing this. And the more you can do it on your own through meditation, the less stress you experience at the human level. So I invite everybody to do that. Okay, you are currently in the phase of growing your inner strength. So this is really big over the next 3 years. Building our core. We don't realize how strong we are. We don't realize how warrior-like we are. We have no idea how brilliant we are. And this is the thing I'm noticing it. Oh my gosh. Smart doesn't describe people, because I've been working with people in the light codes and I really want to get to this, but it's like what's emerging is, I've worked with students for a long time, but what's emerging didn't come from me. It didn't come from anybody. It's coming from inside of them. And it's like, if this much can happen in just a few weeks, like what can happen, in the next few months, in the next few years? It's super exciting. There is a big red frequency that's coming in that has sparked after the recent quantum leap that we went through. And this red is strength and action. Strength and
Well, that's
action.
Aries.
Oh,
That's Aries. Aries represents strength, and it's red because it's ruled by Mars. It was even red in the sky. You know, that's absolutely part of the archetype of Aries.
and
Which,
it's strong, and they're showing me like the frequencies can be like a hair, but this red frequency is just like broad. And so it's inspiring everybody into action. So here's what they say to me: someone has to keep the barn clean by shoveling the manure and adding the fresh hay, while others are the ones that get to exercise the horses, but we all are a part of the balance and harmony of the farm. And so they're saying we all are being called to action, even if it's to pick up the phone and call a friend and say, do you want to make a cup of tea and just sit with me on the phone if they can't get out of the house? Like don't think it's taking to the streets with activism signs. It's any little action to help propel the movement forward.
yeah. And yes, absolutely. And Neptune in Aries, you could literally read the symbolism as spiritual action.
Yes.
It's exactly with what you're saying.
Okay. Perfect. So they do talk a lot about jobs. Let's see. We are human living in an unprecedented times that can feel out of control. How does this plan and message help you now? Help us now. That was the question I asked. But we're human. I put that, but we're human and we're living in unprecedented times that feel so out of control. So how does this message and plan help us? And it said, I love this. They said, well, some of humanity thrives in chaos and some of humanity thrives in calm. And some grow best in chaos and some grow best in calm. They were very clear about that. You must identify which growth medium you thrive best in. Now, the reason why they say this is because if I do well working a lot and and the more the chaos, the more I can focus, but I'm trying to be peace and calm and love and peace and calm and love and peace and calm and love. What they're saying is that's not your nature. So everybody must identify their nature, because those who thrive and grow best in chaos own it, admit it, put it in your back pocket and take off and go to those places of chaos where you can help it to grow and thrive and get us on track. But if you don't thrive in calm, then don't try to thrive in calm. And if you're calm and you can't thrive in chaos, don't try to make yourself. Isn't that like incredible?
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's really recognizing people's individuality, isn't it?
Yeah.
And moving out of this kind of squeezed into a compartment. We've all compromised ourselves through school, through
Yeah.
college, through being nice to everybody and being people pleasing. We've really compromised our true
Yeah.
selves. What that's recognizing is be your true self. Be true
Be
to your.
your true self.
Yeah.
Just like when the astrologer said, why are you working with individuals? You're supposed to be working with groups.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm a healer. We work with one person at a time. Like that's the mind. That's not spirit.
Mm.
Anyway, there's just so much. It's just so packed full. I'm almost done.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful, Nancy. Just anything else you're happy to share with us, particularly about next year, would be great.
All right. So the mycelium, um, they really brought that up. So mycelium, I encourage everybody to look it up. And I know, Pam, you talk about it a lot as well, but it's those little fine little white, roots that communicate with the trees. So they brought up mycelium. So I went and looked it up, and mycelium provides nourishment, exchanges nourishment between trees and plants and the earth. And they don't care what trees' political beliefs are. They don't care if you are conservative or if you're liberal. They don't care if you have addictions or you're an upstanding citizen. It's that exchange of life-giving nourishment is for the upliftment of the entire forest.
That's beautiful.
And the part that really stood out for me was, if you have a tree that's dying, the mycelium will move quickly to extract the knowledge and DNA that tree held, so it's not lost.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so, yeah,
Such wisdom. That is so beautiful.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And so again, they said many people believe that consciousness, I think I said this, is splitting and we will no longer be on the same timelines. What they're saying is you just will no longer be triggered by the other timelines in the
Yeah,
way that
you said that to me before we started to record, so it might be
Oh,
helpful
okay.
to repeat it because I think it'd be helpful for people.
Okay. So what these ascended holy ones are saying is that so many people believe that consciousness is splitting, and soon we will no longer even be able to see those on the other timeline. And what they said was a little bit different. We will still see and know and be a part of each other's lives, but you will no longer be pulled by the emotional triggers that could derail you or undermine you. Therefore, you can more easily move through what you came to do in life without stopping. And there's a sense of relief with that, but I don't know. We all have our truth. So I'm going with that. I'm not saying that that's the truth. The
Right, but
truth.
it's interesting, isn't it? Because it moves beyond judgment and duality and moves
Yes.
towards unity, consciousness, and forgiveness.
Yeah.
There's just a softening of that kind of polarity. So that's really interesting.
And that's coming, that has been the whole time. They always say, no matter who you are, what you do, what you've done, good, bad, or ugly, when it rains, you all get wet. They say that all the time. So, let me just talk about, so the plan, they are telling me that the plan moving forward is we must start working with the quantum field and we must start working with frequencies. And it is a heck of a lot of fun, as we've already said. But the blue light, revealing of truth, dissolving illusions, bringing to justice. And this is a new level that they brought in recently. The blue light beings enforced with me, impressed upon me, that justice also means just right behavior. Therefore, it becomes something that we all must be responsible for, making that just right behavior and what we're called to do by respecting each other.
Yeah.
So that goes up. The blue photonic light plasma, I want to talk about that. It's how is that different than the blue light? So the blue light is definitely like a light. It's a very light, piercing light. Plasma is filled with really high level knowledge and wisdom that is encompasses all the knowledge and wisdom in the world, galaxy, universe. It's like anything that you've ever wanted to know now, or yet to know, it's all available in the plasma, but we're being activated currently, like in these next, up till March 30th, high levels of activation. So how you thought today, how you think today, you may not think that tomorrow or the next day. And that's going to throw us for a loop. But knowledge is available to us in a way it's never been before. Our DNA is being activated. Sacred geometric symbols, I did not understand until I taught this class on sacred geometry and light codes. Sacred geometry already exists, stabilizes, enhances, amplifies frequencies, and we see these such as pyramids, of which they are, many are still hidden, will be revealed, but there are quantum pyramids and quantum cubes and quantum, rectangles and quantum circles that exist in the invisible world, but they stabilize us. And so some people can see or already beginning to see a lot of sacred geometry. And then just bringing it home, the light codes they flicker off and on, and people are beginning to see and sense them. And when you see them, it's like, oh my gosh, I see you, or I sense you, or I can feel you around. And then the light codes say, I see you too. It's like, it's so great to see you. And the light code, it's so great to see you too. And then it's like a ship that goes into the docking station. And so then the light codes share information with you and you share, it's a relationship.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And what you've been
And so I'll just finish up by saying, I put in big bold letters, I am not allowed to interpret what the light code means for you. It cancels out the light code because my database may not align with the light code that fits your database. And what it is doing, it is accelerating rapid fire awakenings.
Oh, it's so beautiful, so beautiful. And just to let everybody know, Nancy's been running a sort of month-long beautiful course, very full with information and knowledge about how we can bring in blue light codes, and they are completely unique to each of us. Nancy, yes, we're downloading completely unique symbols and the beginning of a blue light language, and it doesn't
Yes.
matter that nobody else can understand it or has the same codes or symbols. That doesn't matter. In fact, it's meant to be that way because it is completely unique to us, and that's going to be our language to correspond to divine intelligence and to the galactic being,
Yes,
in a much more
exactly.
way than we've ever done.
Exactly.
And you run it
Exactly.
superbly. Yeah, I mean, you really.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely it was divinely guided because when they said, we want you to teach light codes and quantum, and I was like, you what? And so it was almost like pen to paper. It felt like almost every word was guided. Start like this. It will grow you. Just let it grow you. And it has been growing me, and it's been growing everyone. But there's one light code that's been coming through the most, and it's a circle with a line through it, but the line doesn't go through the middle. Often when I'll see it, it'd be like at an angle or off the side. But but this is the thing about the light codes, is you would think it would mean the same thing, but every person that has gotten that gets a different interpretation, but it all seems to be around movement. So it's like one person says it means travel, another person means transformation, another person, it's like movement or slow down or speed up. So it's interesting how you can get a lot of people get that circle with the line through it, but their interpretations can be dramatically different. And why? Because each light code can have 1,000 different dimensions.
Oh,
There's just nothing like it. Now, I had planned to only keep registration open, for a couple of weeks. And it is, we've kind of had to just leave it open. We don't know what we're going to do with this body of material. I just didn't expect what would happen. So I don't know. So we'll just say, just keep paying attention. I don't know what we're going to do with it, but it definitely was not a one-hit wonder. It's not going to be, it's definitely exactly what you said. This light language, we must learning Spanish or Chinese, or, it's like, we must learn this light language. Well, it'll benefit us if we learn it.
wow. So
Moving.
you're going to run this course again, I think, early next year, Nancy?
Well, we're definitely doing something around the end of March. We're not quite sure what we're doing right now. We just didn't expect. I didn't expect what happened. I
Taken
don't
on
even
a
know
life
how
of
to.
its own, hasn't it? It's taken on a life
It
of
has taken on a life of its own. It's always been there, alive and moving us. And now we're moving it, and it's moving us, and we're moving together. And yeah, I couldn't be happier than I am now. Yeah.
Nancy, you've given us some beautiful, beautiful, inspiring material in this last hour, and you have such a very fine and unique voice in this arena,
Mm.
and we are so grateful. It's always delivered with a big loving heart and a big smile, and I think this will help a lot of people, give a lot of people hope and focus for where we are headed. And I think there's a momentum building, with people I'm speaking to at the moment, and you're a beautiful example today. There's a kind of momentum of love and joy and excitement that is becoming absolutely unstoppable. And yeah, just get on that ride. Just get on that ride. Don't look back. Just get on that ride. So thank you
Exactly.
so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to share before we close?
Oh, no, I'm just again thrilled to talk with you. So thank you again for the invitation. And I I couldn't be happier with where I see things going. And yeah, thank you for letting me share my voice.
No, it's been beautiful. I've absolutely loved it. As I say, I didn't, with all of these conversations, I never quite know where they're going. And this was particularly true for this one. So it has not disappointed at all. It's thrilling. So Nancy, so much love over cyberspace, so much love, and
Yes, thank you.
so much love to everyone who's been listening. And I hope you've loved it as much as I have. Thanks so much, Nancy. God bless.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Bye
You're
for
welcome.
now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.